Hey everyone, this is my updated forecast for our potential snow threat. It's actually looking much better than the previous snowstorm by far, and while at the same time we're not seeing necessarily any strong indications yet that we will have something historic, but definitely something that will produce hopefully a snowfall with light accumulations and maybe even something more than that. I'll try to explain everything here. This is the GFS, and I'm going to show you the Euro too. I'm just going to say right off the bat that it ended up being that more of a blend between the GFS and the Euro. Before we were having a model war, the Euro was showing like a historic storm, the GFS was showing nothing. They've kind of come together, and as we're about to see, here is the maps for the GFS. I want you to notice how the storm evolves. It's basically, we have a trough here developing, and it does come down, and the blue gets pretty close to Israel, and then it turns and pivots. This cold air pivoted, and the trough actually rebuilt, and then it sweeps out of the area. This is all happening over the course of literally a very long time, which is pretty remarkable. This is about a 4-day event starting Saturday night all the way until Wednesday. So it will be very cold from Saturday night into Wednesday, and every day from Sunday until Wednesday there will be potential for snowfall, which is actually a really cool thing about this setup. One of the things though that has been confusing me and a lot of forecasters is a very unique setup in which you'll notice here that we only are in green down here at certain parts of the storm. This is I think at the 26th, which is Monday or Tuesday. Yeah, I think it's Tuesday. And it would seem that this green isn't cold enough for us, because every snowstorm that I've seen, we've been in the blue. And what we're looking at here is a 500 millibar level of the atmosphere, which is the highest level of the atmosphere. But one thing that I discovered about these maps not too long ago, because I learned a lot as the storm comes, I learned more and more, is that this map is actually measuring the height of the 500 millibar pressure. And by that, it means that how high up in the air is the 500 millibar amount of pressure. Please read maybe 4 posts ago where I explain pressure, but the idea is that the colder the air is on this level of 500 millibar, the lower it sinks. And this is basically showing how low is that cold air sinking. And typically, so the colder, the more it will sink. And typically, if it's at the cold level that we need it to be at for a really heavy snowstorm, it will sink in a way that this area should be in blue, which is 5,400 meters off the ground. All our big snowstorms had the sinking of the 500 millibar cold going to that lower level of 5,400 meters above the ground. Here, it's actually not showing that though, which would seem to indicate that it's just not cold enough to sink. And if it's not cold enough to sink, then we're not getting to the level of a heavy snowstorm that exists, that we need when we're at the 500 millibar level. And what's that temperature in order for us to get into a heavy snowstorm? Is usually around -30, -28 to -30 if you want a really nice heavy snowstorm. But check this out. I just noticed recently that there's actually another map here called the temperatures at 500 millibar. And if we check this out, we're going to see a very different evolution of the storm here. And notice that the blue, right around here, the darker we go, this level of blue, -30, is -30. And that would be great if we could get into that. That would mean we would have a very cold and potentially snowy setup. Notice what's happening. The blue, we're already in the blue, which is below -25, which is great to be in. And then this is really interesting. We don't see this on the height maps that I've been showing you before. There is this other second burst of cold on the 500 again millibar temperature that basically rushes in and comes into Israel and brings us into really deep blue, which would be great. Look at this right there, which would be great for heavy snow. And it's very odd that with such cold temperatures on the 500 millibar that we're not seeing the height level go to blue as well. It's very unusual, and it basically means that it's very hard for me to predict to how cold it's really going to be and to what level of heavy snow we're going to get. But it's positive to see that at this level. I think overall it's a good sign that we see that we're actually getting close to negative 30 range. This is the 6Z GFS, and let me just show you the temperatures. This is the temperatures on the 850 level. This is the lower level, and in order to get accumulating snow, we need to have our 850s, which is again the lower level, between -2 and -4. And the 6Z GFS, which was our latest one, has actually struggles a lot with that. You see how we don't really stay in the sub-zero range. Now, thankfully, this is somewhat of an outlier. The GFS has actually been showing really cold 850s, much colder than this. And the Euro has actually been showing incredible cold too on the 850 range. Just watch, here's the Euro. The cold surges in. We get very nice blues here. Watch this next one. This one especially, we're very close to -6 even. Right in Hermon it's -6, and we're definitely -4 range. This would be a great snow setup, and I'm pretty confident that the Euro has us at a very cold 500 millibar, -30 range as well. And the Euro is at a place right now where it is showing a very cold and possibly heavy accumulating snowstorm between basically again starting around Saturday night, Sunday, then going all the way into Wednesday. So if it's like the GFS though, the 6Z, and we're not going to get these types of cold, we're going to probably just have a wet snow event where it accumulates very lightly, maybe 1 to 2 inches, which is about 3 to 5 centimeters of snow. According to the Euro, we can have a lot more. I would say close to, I don't want to give any estimates right now because it's very hard, but definitely more than 3 inches of snow, I would suggest. And I'm not going to give any official snow totals until until Saturday night, maybe Friday if we're lucky. It's very hard to predict snow levels here at this range. So let me just also show the ensembles, which is a really awesome long-range tool, which I talked about in my last video. This is a very old ensemble map actually. This is from the, no, not true. It's not so old. It's from the 0Z GFS ensembles. And we actually see a really positive 500 millibar temperature signature here. Like the average right here is in the -27 range, and there's the potential for it to go to -30 on the GFS. And this is a really good range to be in for heavy snow. Here is the 850 temperatures. Notice that the average gets below 0 and stays there for a very long time. Again, this is a remarkably long and cold snow. Cold storm, hopefully snow. And the problem is that the average is only in the -0 to 0.8 range. We want this green line to shift a lot more down. And luckily, there is potential for that. We see even here, it's not a lot, but the further out we go, like into Tuesday, Wednesday, there's a lot more potential for it. I'm hopeful that the Euro is correct, even though it's kind of was wrong with the previous historic looking maps. But I'm hopeful because also the GFS has been showing colder. This shows the potential for colder on the 850 lower level range. And so what we're looking at right now with all that's been said is a very long storm, very cold, and the potential exists for having periods of wet snow from, I would say, most likely at the beginning of Sunday into Monday. On Monday, it looks like the 500s millibars kind of takes a break from being so cold, and it would probably turn into rain from like Monday to Tuesday, a cold rain. But then Monday night, or Tuesday into Wednesday would then be our even greater shot for cold. That's when the 500 millibars seem to really be at their coldest and would present the potential for our heaviest snows as well. There's still so much that can change. There's a lot to be determined in terms of precipitation amounts. But I would say right now we're definitely at a high probability of receiving wet snow that would accumulate to some degree, not that much. And then in lower chances, but still significant enough to talk about, of having a much higher accumulation event, something that could reach above 4 inches of snow, which would be great, I think, for any sort of snowstorm here in Jerusalem. So that's the update. It's a complicated forecast because, again, of the issues with the height, which I showed you before. That could totally mess up this forecast, and it could be that we just won't get accumulating snow because of that issue. I have yet to really understand it fully. So more will become clear as we get closer. Anyways, that's the forecast. That's the video. Check back for more updates as we get closer. All the best. Bye.